I feel like 2024 has been a year that I didn't really anticipate, like, at all. But it's definitely been a year that I needed, uh, in terms of realizing that it's time to change. It's time to do things that bring me joy, passion, that align with my why, that I can use to glorify God. Hey YouTube, so this is my first, I guess, official introduction of my somewhat content creator lifestyle. We're gonna just see how this goes, and if it works out well, then it works out well. But for now, let's just start this off with a reflection of 2024. I was trying to go for something cinematic, but then I realized that it's time to just lay it all out for what it is, be vulnerable for first time in a long time. I think the last time I did this was like 2020, but a lot has happened since then, and I don't think a 30-second cinematic video could do it justice, so we're just gonna do this. 2024 was definitely a year of change. It was a year of refining, I would say, and a lot of hard truths to kind of just come to face with. But it was also a year full of achievements and accomplishments and life-changing moments. I got engaged to the love of my life, Billy. Wedding planning, don't get me started on wedding planning, but it is going. We're in a good spot. So I won't share the date, but just know that it's in 2025. She's in her 2025 bride era. Then I went on 2 out-of-state conferences for the very first time, to kind of grow in my faith and grow as a leader in the church. So I went to Arizona with a couple of with Billy, my fiance, and my faith formation religious education coordinator, director, whatever her title is. And then later on in November, we went to Long Beach, California, and we brought along 5 teens and 9 adults, including myself, to represent Hawaii in the National Catholic Youth Convention. Did I say that already? I think I said that. So that was fun because I got to see these teens grow in their faith and just grow together as friends. And as a youth minister, the number one thing you want is not only for these young people to grow closer in their faith to Christ, but also to, grow closer together and just grow as a person. And to be able to facilitate that and to see that in action was honestly one of my closest moments to God this whole year. And of course, an award that I never wanted, never expected, never anticipated, ended up falling into my lap. I got an Emmy Award for my very first award ever for anything. Well, what do they call those? On rolls? Do they count? President's List? I don't think they count. I guess my first official award in my career happened this year, and it was for the piece I did in 2023. It was called Ending the Silence, Breaking Mental Health Stigma, and it was a story where I interviewed 9 people, all mental health advocates, including one suicide prevention task force co-director. And essentially, we all gathered to talk about what mental health stigma is and what they're doing in their communities to just reduce it or break it. And lo and behold, it was recognized by judges across the country. Or let me take that back. It was recognized by people in the NorCal region. So I believe it's Alaska, Hawaii, and some of the West Coast. So among 1,000 or more entries, mine was chosen for the category of health and medical long-form content. And so I believe it was me and one other entry that was up against each other, and mine ended up getting chosen. I was able to attend the Emmy Award ceremony with some of my colleagues, got to get dressed up. Funny story there, I did my own hair and makeup. I literally had to buy drugstore makeup, and like I remember the false lashes that I wore were not what I wanted. So my makeup that day, not the best. But was it great for what it was? Yes. So I have all those photos, and I think I have a moment. Shout out to Valen and Alo for taking this video because I was not prepared to win at all whatsoever. You literally see my jaw drop, and it was just a moment of like bliss, disbelief, but also just relief, knowing that like shit, this one and fucking Emmy. Sorry for my language. But I went on that stage, and my acceptance speech was not what I planned. In my head, I believe we only had 30 seconds for an acceptance speech, and I planned it ahead of time. I wrote it out. I got to the points where I needed to get, but the beginning and the ending was not what I wanted to happen. But I guess that goes to show this how how much I didn't expect it, honestly, but also how grateful I was. And I mean, at the end of the day, I'm grateful for what I said. Of course, shout out to my mom and dad because they made me, but also to the people who struggle and the people who have been working hard to just spread mental health awareness. You know, the work that they do does not go unnoticed. And I'm just one of many people who are doing that to break the stigma and to make a difference in this world, because we all are hurting in some way, shape, and form. And we need to take care of each other at the end of the day. You know, that's what it is. We always need to look out for each other. Those were the highlights. And not a lot of people are going to talk about this, but let's talk about some of the lowest moments that I've encountered. So one of the major ones was me having to go to the hospital, to the emergency room quite a few times because of my health. I'm not going to go into the details. Thankfully, it's not life-threatening, but it is something that I needed to start taking care of so that it doesn't get worse. And I think it hit me a lot harder because as somebody who did win an MA for mental health and somebody who always advocated for self-care, obviously, when I saw myself at my lowest and I realized that I wasn't listening and doing what I preached, it made me take a step back and see, what do I need to reprioritize? What do I need to do in order to get back to myself? Because I do really feel like I lost myself this entire year, as contrary to popular belief and all the accolades that I've achieved this year, I really felt like I wasn't myself. And so I think, in addition to that, all the sleep deprivation just got to me. I'm not gonna lie, 2024 was actually the year I felt very insecure, to just put in some terms. I know I want an Emmy. I know I was doing a lot of work that was good. But for some reason, I could not get out of that dark place. I just could not. And so I actively sought a professional help from a therapist for the first time ever, did some sessions, and she helped me a lot. And so that was good. And I ended up reaching out to friends, and most importantly, my fiance Billy. He helped me so much through this year, and we had disagreements, but I was able to get through all of that, because at the end of the day, I was reminded by those who love me that God made me beautifully and wonderfully made. God said I was beautifully and wonderfully made in His creation, in His likeness, and in His image. And you know, when you're so caught up in this world and you're caught up in just work and everything else but God, you always tend to forget that truth. And it isn't until you go back to the Word, or you go back to the people who are close to the Word, that you're reminded that you are beautiful and you are worthy. Of course, you're unworthy in a sense where like receiving God's mercy and grace, but then he also reminds us that we are worthy to receive his loving grace because he loves us that much, and we are so loved. And I forgot about that. I forgot that I was loved. And even if people would tell me that, even if I would hear all these affirmations, it just seemed like the negative ones stood out, or the negative actions toward me stood out. And so that was a big lesson learned. It was a reminder that I am loved by God. I am loved by my family. I am loved by my fiance. I'm loved by my friends. And as much as I like to joke about not having friends and working too much and, making self depreciation jokes, like at the end of the day, I'm doing better to remind myself that, I am loved, I am worthy, I am doing my best, and God sees me. And I just need to continue to give myself the grace to move forward and know that I am awesome. I am freaking awesome. And I should be confident in myself because this world cannot tell me who I am and should be, because God already said I am his. And that should mean more than anything else in this world. You know what I mean? And so I'm looking forward to going into 2025 with this renewed mindset that I am in need of I am amazing and I am worthy to help every blessing that is going to come my way. We lost our news director, Scott Duff. He was amazing. He was an awesome person who really cared about people, and I've never experienced the loss of a boss before, so that was a first. And he was the very one, I'm gonna get emotional. He was the very one that believed in me, especially the projects that I did for digital. As a digital producer, you don't often get to do these projects, these passion projects, but he was the one that, among the very few leaders that helped to strengthen my storytelling, strengthen my journalistic skills, and who believed in me most of all. So, I don't know. I'm not trying to count my losses, but these are pretty big things in my life that have impacted me and made me the person I am today. I made a life-changing decision that will probably change my life again, and it's a big transition among the many transitions that I'm going through, but I believe it's for the best and more details to come. But with that, I feel like 2024 has been a year that I didn't really anticipate, like, at all, but it's definitely been a year that I needed in terms of realizing that it's time to change. It's time to do things that bring me joy, passion, that align with my why, that I can use to glorify God. And, whatever that looks like in the future, I just hope that it makes this world a better place and that it helps people, whether it helps them grow, it helps them not feel alone, or if it helps them just be inspired to create and to do whatever they want to do. Like, that's kind of what the goal is for this video too. It's just, laying it all out there, but also maybe it's help me reflect better, because once I speak it into existence or I say it out loud, then it's true, and it's all power to me and you to share our stories with each other. So, lessons learned: health is wealth, focus on yourself, care for others, but ultimately also care for yourself. And sometimes things are temporary, and that's okay. This life, believe it or not, is temporary. We're not made for this earth, we are made for heaven. and we will get there. But along the way, we will learn some lessons that will make or break us, but it won't define us. It's what we do next that matters. So another lesson that I learned from 2024 is that work is not God. It is definitely not your God, and it is important to set boundaries and to know your bandwidth, because, girl, my bandwidth was stretched and pulled in every which way this year. And yes, while that builds resilience and grit, which I have a whole lot of, I believe. And no, I believe it's important to set those boundaries and say no and keep your no's. Say yes if you can say yes, but if you say no, stick with no. There will be many times where I would say no, but then I say yes because I felt bad. And, nobody deserves that. I don't deserve that. So my lesson learned this year is that your yes be yes and your no's be no's, because it's so important for your health in the very end to just stick with it. You deserve to rest and choose to rejuvenate yourself in the way that you need to be rejuvenated, because in the end, it'll help everybody. As 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17 says, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come." So with this new year, let us not focus on the past, but look forward to the future that God holds for us. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Yeah, we'll leave it at that.